What is going on, guys? It is DigiWatch TCG coming to you with another deck profile. Now today we're going to be going over the Ravemon Ravemon deck profile for the BT13 format. Now I feel like this deck is different from any other deck in the format, and I would say that this is more of a locals deck. Don't think that you can bring this to a regional and top out a regional. I mean, maybe if you're very, very lucky, but this is nowhere, in my opinion, near that. It does have like something close to a 50-50% win rate at a locals level, so that's the farthest I brought it. But it is fun. It is I'll say that me and my opponent both have fun when they see what this deck can do, and I feel like it's equally offensive and defensive depending on the situation. So with that said, let's go into the deck profile. So starting things off, Pinamon here on deletion. If deleted outside of battle, gain 1 memory. Now I believe that if DP reduced, it still gains that effect since it is outside of battle. If it were by an effect, though, you will not prompt that effect because it has to be by an effect. But this is just deleted outside of battle. So on deletion, gain 1 memory. I think that's pretty good, just generally speaking. Then we play our rookies. So starting with our 4 new rookies, we are playing 4 copies of Falcomon. Now on play, one of your Digimon gets retaliation until the end of your opponent's turn. This is pretty good for this deck, and if you know Ravemon, you know exactly why this is good. Mainly, your ability to bring back lower level 4 or lower Digimon from your trash is really good, and they keep their on-play effects. So being able to bring these back as 1k bodies, they can be blockers or they can be offensive cards that you swing and run into your opponent to be able to get some easy quick damage to, or later in the game just keep a few blockers. Plus it sets you up for multiple stacks if you need so. Also on deletion, if deleted outside of battle, your opponent trashes 1 card in their hand. Of course this deck is a little bit oppressive in that way, in that the rookies, mostly the new rookies, have the ability of deleting or trashing cards from your opponent's hand, giving them less resources to work with. Then we run 4 copies of the EX4 Falcomon. Now this one is a searcher. You look at the top 3. You can get a Keating Crier and a Ravemon or a Digimon with a bird or avian in its traits to your hand. The rest go to the bottom of your deck. And then the on deletion is the same as the other Falcomon. If deleted outside of battle, then your opponent trashes 1 card in their hand. It is their choice that they can delete 1 card in their hand. So it is a way. It is unfortunate that they get to choose because they could just throw out something they really don't need. But sometimes, you never know. Like if they oh, I lost my whole stack, they may be missing a piece that's very important. Now going into the 2-ofs, we play 2 copies of Gabumon. This is the on deletion, draw 2, discard 1. There are some effects that need cards in the trash and some combo plays that you need to have in the trash, so sometimes it's good to spread your resources between your trash and your hand, and there's many ways of recurring in this deck in my opinion. So even if there is something that you need to get back from the trash later on in the game, then you could. But yeah, I felt like when I was playtesting this that I had the pieces in my hand, but I didn't have the pieces in my trash that I needed as well. So this is just a good way of fixing your hand, getting the stuff that you need in the trash, and such. So that is a 2-of. Then we play 2-of Sunemon. I think it's Sukamon here. It's the same effect as Pinamon, basically. On deletion, gain 1 memory. Again, memory gain is very good in this deck, and it depends on the situation. If you have a memory tamer already set, then I would probably choose one of the other rookies to go into. But if you're like earlier game, I don't have my Keenan yet, I need to get him out, this would be the card I'd probably go into. And then lastly, for our last rookie, we play 2 copies of Ignitemon. I think Ignitemon is really good in this deck too. Ignite has 2 really powerful abilities in my opinion. First, all turns, if you play a Digimon by another effect, gain 1 memory. So late game, if you're able to get a lot of your pieces going, you'll be able to gain extra memory off of this. Of course, Mervamon also gives you extra memory back when you have this card. And you do search a lot in your deck, and you are able to get pieces from your deck. So it's not hard to get into one of your 2 copies of Ignitemon in this build. Additionally, you have the other ability to delete one of your other Digimon, so you could swing with your jamming oh my god, I'm blanking, Ravemon. And then you can swing with this and then delete your Ravemon, or vice versa, to be able to get rid of problematic cards on your opponent's side of the field. You would have to probably have this in raising without anything above it, like no champions or anything, but I think it's still mandatory to play at least 2 copies in the deck. Going on to our level 4s, we're actually only playing level 4 for them, but we play so many searchers in this deck that it's not hard to find your pieces when you need them. And again, like I said, you can recur back some cards. So we have 4 copies. We'll just go over both of them since they're both kind of the same. 4 copies of Pekmon and Pekmon. So the Pekmon from BT13 is the one that's off to the left here with blocker. It's good because, again, with Mervamon, you could just bring back this as a blocker body. Additionally, it acts as just like a building block if you need it in your raising area or whatnot. Or you can just throw it out there as an extra blocker, so it's pretty good that way. And then the other one, when Digivolve, if you don't have a Keenan Crier in play, you can play one from your hand. We do need to get Keenan Crier out pretty fast in this deck to maintain your memento and be able to go into your burst modes when you need to. So absolutely, I feel like playing 4 and 4 is absolutely mandatory. And then, of course, if deleted outside of battle, it has the exact same effect as the rookies. Trash 1 card in your opponent's hand. That is for both of them. So that we're only playing 8 of these. I know people may look to say, oh wow, only 8. But again, you do a lot of searches in this deck. You're able to get your pieces very, very quickly. And I have never had a problem finding my 4s. At least not yet. But going on to our level 5s, we have our Chromons here. We have 4 copies of the BT13 Chromon. Now, this one, I think, is a little bit better. And like I said, there are some cards that you want in your trash and some that you want in your hand. And depending on the situation, you may need to get something in your trash. So, Chromon here is if you have a Tamer, this Digimon can Digivolve into a Ravemon in your trash for the Digivolution cost. And then on deletion, if deleted outside of battle, you can play one level 4 lower purple Digimon card from your trash without paying the memory cost. As I mentioned before, with the level 4s, you don't really need to worry too much about having a low count, because with this card, you just have to Digivolve on top, and then it'll bring back your blocker, or your level 4, or your level 3, depending on what you need, back to the field. So it is really good that way. The other one we are playing is, let me move this over to the side a little bit, is the EX4 version of the card as well. Now, this card is a little less important in my opinion. It has 2 main effects. The when attacking is pretty much the same thing as the other Chromon, except you can Digivolve from your hand instead of the cards in your trash. I actually had a, sometimes you have to read cards, and I kept missing the word hand or trash. So each one of them, keep in mind that one does from the hand, one does from the trash. I think it's a really cool setup, but keep in mind, like, know what's in your trash, look, double check it, say, okay, we have a Ravemon there in the trash, so we can use the one that Digivolves from trash, or we don't have anything in our trash yet, so we have to Digivolve into the one that goes into Ravemon in our hand. So just keep that in mind. So this is better late game, personally, or unless you're lucky and you get a Ravemon in your trash early, or this one is good early game. So we play 7. I think 7 is fine. Again, never ran into any problems with it, and a lot of stuff is recurable. Then let's go into our level 6s. This is where we start to get some interesting new stuff here, and we play 4 copies of the Ravemon from EX4. Now, I don't play the one that's from BT13. I really don't think the 13 one is that good. Yes, it has a couple of the same effects of the when attacking and other things like that, but or end of attack, but I think that this one is just much, much better. First off, it has jamming, so you're able to swing when not worrying about getting into something that's stronger than 11k. And then on end of attack, you can delete this Digimon, and then you can bring back a Ravemon from your trash without paying the memory cost on the next turn, on the end of your opponent's next turn. And then on deletion, if your opponent has 8 or more cards in hand, they trash 1 card out of their hand. Then if your opponent has 7 or fewer cards in hand, they add the top card of their security stack to their hand. So again, very, very good cards here. The other one has the ability to play a Crier or a from your hand, I think, on deletion, or your trash on deletion, or a Falcomon from your trash or hand. but I just don't think there's a need for it. I was initially running it at 1, but I just didn't find it to be that good. And I needed to make room for some other rookies I wanted to run. So we were running 4 copies of the Ravemon there. Your win con is pretty much there. Then we played 2 copies of Mervamon. Now, personally, I do like to digivolve this more or less at a time if I have no other choice. You could just digivolve into your Ravemon and Raising, and then save this for a situation where maybe you need to have a bunch of blockers and you just do that late game. Maybe you'll be able to get to a lot of memory, and there are a lot of ways of gaining memory in this deck which you won't initially think about first, but you can easily get to 5 to 7 memory with this deck if you have the right setup. So 2 copies of Mervamon brings back Cross Hearts and level 4 purples. If you cross it, then it is for 2 of them. If you're doing it with 1, it's just, or digivolving, it's just 1. So just keep that in mind. Then for our top end here, we're running 3 copies of Ravemon Burst Mode. This card is really cool. You could digivolve for 0 by returning a Keenan Crier from to your hand, and then at the end of the burst digivolution turn, you trash the top card, which would be itself from the stack. And then when digivolving, you can look at your opponent's hand, you can search your opponent's hand, trash 1 card among them, and then if they have 7 or fewer cards in their hand, they add the top card of their security stack to their hand. So you can digivolve into Ravemon, do the Ravemon things, and then swing, and then digivolve into this. Then it has a 1 attacking by returning 1 Digimon card with from your opponent's trash to the bottom of the deck. Delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the same name as that card. This is really good because sometimes late game you'll be able to put something back like an Agumon. Like I was facing Shangreymon a few times with this deck, and I actually had them on the ropes. They lost a lot of their deck basically being having a Shangreymon. It's like, oh, I can't promote out, or they're not going to promote out and lose on their effects because they don't want it deleted by the burst mode. If you have like a Ravemon that's going to be coming back at the end of your turn, and that deletion effect that deletes it then brings it back at the end of your opponent's turn is kind of almost like a protection effect because there's no interaction unless you shuffle it back from your to your bottom of the deck with like an effect, or you play something like Crimson Blaze that would say your opponent cannot play Digimon by effects. So burst mode here is really good at being able to disrupt the board. Now that is mainly all our Digimon. Let's go into our Tamers and option cards really quick. So we do run 3 of the EX4 Keenan Crier. I think that this one personally is a little bit more important. It's a memory setter, which you usually need 3 memory to set up your plays. So I think that the 3 memory is more important. Then all turns when one of your purple Digimon with Ravemon in its name or bird or Avian in its traits is deleted. By suspending its tamer, you draw 1, and then if it's deleted by an effect, you gain 1 memory. So usually if you're having Ravemon in your raising area and you swing in to your opponent and it dies, you can tap the card, gain an extra memory, then you go to 4, and so you have other plays you can use with this. Additionally, we run 2 copies of the new Keenan Crier. This one is on play. Your opponent trashes 1 option or tamer card from their hand. If not, you draw 1 and gain 1 memory. Effectively, if this is like the opening turn, like you have nothing else that you can really do, you play this card, and it essentially might be ending up like a play cost of 2. Because early game, your opponent might not want to get rid of a card in their hand, a tamer in their hand, because right now it's very important. So you may get an extra draw out of it, an extra gain 1 memory, and then opponent's turn when a effect plays a Digimon by suspending this tamer, gain 1 memory. Keep in mind that your Ravemon comes back on their turn, so this includes that time. So your Ravemon comes back, you suspend, and you gain that extra memory from this Keenan Crier. Plus it's a 3, and this one is actually the one you want to bounce back with the burst, so that you can play it again and get rid of another card in their hand, or gain more memory and stuff. Lastly, the last Tamers we play are 2 copies of Analog Youth. I think that the Analog Youth is actually pretty fun because you are deleting your stuff mainly every turn. If you have this out, you can suspend it, and you get to hatch an egg, one of your eggs, and be able to gain a memory off of that as well. So you can start on your next deck as well. Put a rookie or a champion in there, getting ready for the next turn. Lastly, let's go over the options, and there's not too many to talk about. We just play the one copy of Calling from the Darkness, get back pieces we need from the trash if necessary, 2 copies of the Purple Memory Boost just because we need that consistency searching, and then we play 4 copies of Ame no Ohaba. Ohabari. I'm gonna hope that's how you say this card's name. If you know in the comments, let me know in the comment section below. But you delete one of your Digimon, delete one Digimon with the same level or lower. Basically, if one of your Digimon with Ravemon in its name was deleted by this effect, at the end of your opponent's turn, play one Ravemon from your trash without paying the memory cost. So I really like this card. I wish I could play it at more copies because there are plays where I'd rather swing with the Ravemon, delete it, and hopefully have a second Ravemon in your trash. That's why the trashing element is very important. I might even take out the Purple Memory Boost and put in Mist Memory Boost just to try to get more into the trash. But at the end of your opponent's turn, you would bring back 2 Ravemons. And then you can do double burst mode, you could do Mervamon plays, you can do multiple swings. It's just you get to start to swarm with high-level Digimon, and I think that is a really powerful effect. So what do you guys think of this deck? I'm actually very interested in seeing how this does in a more competitive scene. I still wouldn't bring it to a regional level. I just think that this deck is just really fun to play, and I myself have been having a ton of fun. When I bring this to locals, we're just messing around, and this can beat stuff like Galmon and Shine Greymon without them really realizing it, but again, it's one of those underrated decks that if they play their cards correctly and they know how to get around this, then unfortunately it's not as strong as you think. So it is my version of the build. I hope it's fun to bring it to locals. Just have fun with it. With that said, hope this video was very helpful for you. Maybe it gave you some ideas, inspired you. Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay classy.